What's up guys, Turbo Velchik here, back with another video, and in today's video, I'm doing my review on Beyblade Burst Rise episode 19, titled Dragon vs Genesis. So before we start this video, I'm just going to say this video will have spoilers on the episode, but if you guys have not seen the episode yet, I will leave a link in the description below to where you can watch the episode. So like always, one Rise episode covers 2 Gotchi episodes, so this episode covers episodes 37 and 38 of Beyblade Burst Gotchi. So yeah, let's begin with the analysis. So like always, the episode starts off with the welcome to the world of Beyblade scene, and then the story takes place a little bit after the previous episode, where Dante and the Victories are back home, and the news station crew is at the Victories gym wanting to interview Dante, and of course, Dante is nervous. So Armin tells Dante that he can do it, and Dante relaxes and says that he gave it 110% and showed Arthur what blading means to them, and then he starts showing off after being asked to see his poses, and after watching Dante, Ichika runs off. So the next scene takes place at the Sparkwings gym, where 2 members of the Sparkwings, which are Daki and Jun, want to come back to the Sparkwings and blade under Fumia's guidance, and Fumia says they must pass the entrance exam, and then we see Ichika who is checking in on Fumia. And then we get into the opening and tall card, and then we get back to the Victories gym, where Dante and the Victories finish watching the news broadcast on Dante for the 10th time, and Dante starts flexing on the club because he was called a hero, and then Dante puts Dragon down, and Gwen was thinking about how Dragon awakened in Dante's match with Arthur, and Dante wonders if Delta watched his match with Arthur, and the Victories are wondering if Delta was okay, and Dante believes that Delta was evolving Devlos at that moment, and then Gwen grabs Dragon and starts to look at it, and then tells Dante that he wants to battle him, and of course, Dante accepts. So Dante gets into a Dragon moment talking about Gwen, and Dragon says that Gwen has been growing a lot in blading, and Dragon senses something special in Gwen, and tells Dante to not underestimate Gwen's power. And Dante and Gwen's battle is about to start, and Gwen calculates that he will defeat Dante. So now we are getting into the battle, which is Dante and Command Dragon versus Gwen and Royal Genesis, and once Dante and Gwen launch, both Dragon's ignition driver and Genesis' hybrid driver accelerate, and Genesis takes the center and Dante and Dragon get into Dragon launch, and Dragon knocks Genesis out of the center, but Genesis returns to the center. So Dragon starts attacking Genesis, and the locks on Genesis start to move, and the center of the bay eventually turns red, and Dragon starts to go for Genesis, but Genesis dodges Dragon's attack, and Gwen says his calculations were right, and Genesis has the highest attack power, and Dante starts getting pumped up, and Gwen says he wants to learn more about Dante and Beyblade, and then Gwen heats up, and we get into Genesis' avatar, and Genesis' avatar awakens, and then Genesis gets into Superior Flux, and Gwen's Superior Flux is brighter than what it was in episode 17, and then Dante heats up and we get into Dragon's avatar, and then Dragon gets into Hyperflux, and Dragon and Genesis go for each other in the center, and then Dante and Dragon get into Wing Recoil, and Gwen and Genesis get into Royal Scream, which was originally Regalia Scream in Japan, and Dragon is knocked out of the stadium, so Gwen takes the first point, and Gwen says the results of the battle were precisely as calculated, but sounded like he wasn't happy about it, and then asked Dante if that was all he can do, and of course it wasn't, and now Gwen is ready to start the second battle. So the next scene takes place at Free Stadium at BC Seoul, where Vault is training with Sword Velchik, and once Vault finishes, he offers Delta some Bay Bread, and Delta is still upset over Devlos' destruction. So Vault tells Delta that blading is all about getting back up again, even if your bay is destroyed, and then asks Delta to battle, and Delta lightens up, and part 1 of the episode ends, which was episode 37 of Gotchi, and now we are getting into the second half of the episode, which was episode 38 of Gotchi, and the name for this part has not been released at the time of recording this video, but since it was called Aurora Superior Turbo in Japan, my guess is that it would be called something like Aurora Superior Flux. So now we get back to the Victories gym, and Gwen tells Dante to not hold back, and Dante is a little bit annoyed because Gwen took the first point. And then Dante gets into a Dragon moment, and for some weird reason, Dante is real high up in the air, but then he goes down to Dragon, and Dante tells Dragon that he feels something, and Dragon says that it is fear because Gwen exceeded his expectations, and possibly even surpassed him in blading, and Dante doesn't believe that Gwen surpassed him, but Dragon says that he must believe it, and once he does, he'll become even stronger. So Dante gets out of his Dragon moment and is talking to Gwen about how he's gotten a lot stronger, and Dante starts heating up and says that he'll be sure to win now that Dragon is in its awakened state. So Gwen says that there is a 100% chance that Genesis will burst Dragon in the second round, and the burst will also cause Command Dragon to break, and Dante gets a little nervous, and it reminds him of when Apocalypse destroyed Ace Dragon, and the Victories don't believe that Command Dragon will be destroyed, and Dante gets mad at Gwen for saying that, and Gwen says that he has no interest in breaking Dragon, and that was just his calculations. And Dante says that he can't calculate every battle, but Gwen says he can because he doesn't make mistakes. So Gwen gets into one of his moments, and flashbacks of Dante are going past him, and for some reason, they included the scene where Devlos was destroyed, and Gwen says that he is there today because of Dante. And now we are getting into the second round of Dante and Gwen's battle, and once Dante and Gwen launch, Dragon's ignition driver and Genesis' hybrid driver accelerate, and then Genesis takes the center and its hybrid driver accelerates again, and its speed increases, and Gwen wonders if there is a reason for him to stay at the victories, and then Dante and Dragon get into Dragon launch, and Dragon starts attacking Genesis, and the center of the bay eventually turns red, and then Dante and Dragon get into ignition force, and Dragon's speed increases, and Dragon hits the button on Genesis trying to burst it, and Dragon is knocked away, and it uses wing recoil to stay in the stadium, and Dante heats up and we get into Dragon's avatar, and then Dragon gets into hyperflux, and then Dante and Dragon get into wing recoil again, and Dragon hits the button on Genesis, and there's an explosion in the stadium, and the button on Genesis is being pushed in, and Gwen has a freak out because he doesn't want to lose, because his calculations will be wrong, and he hates being wrong. So then we get into Genesis' avatar, and Genesis breaks free and takes the center, and Gwen has his first Genesis moment, and he tells Genesis that he can evolve it into a more perfect creation, and Gwen snaps out of his Genesis moment and gets into superior flux, and Dragon goes in to attack Genesis, and Gwen starts smiling because his calculations were about to be confirmed correct, and Dante remembers that Gwen said that Dragon was going to be destroyed, and then Gwen and Genesis get into Royal Eclipse, which was originally Regalia Big Bang in Japan, and then there's an explosion in the stadium, and Dragon appears and it bursts, so Gwen wins the battle. So Dante is relieved that Dragon didn't break, and Gwen was annoyed that he was wrong about Dragon being shattered, and then Gwen leaves the Victory's gym and says that he no longer has a reason to stay there, and then the episode ends. So anyways, Dragon vs. Genesis was a good episode and I did enjoy it, and the battle between Dante and Gwen was also good. And I also like the animation for Gwen's Royal Eclipse move, and how it resembles a Big Bang since it was called Regalia Big Bang in Japan. And also, like always, I was glad to see Vault in this episode, especially since we haven't seen him much in this season, and I was glad to see him trying to cheer up Delta like he always does, and encouraging him to get back up and evolve Devlos. And I also thought there were some weird parts in this episode, like where Dante was high up in the air in his Dragon moment at the beginning of the second half of the episode, and also when Dragon burst, Gwen had no emotion about it, but after Dante was talking to Dragon, he gets annoyed, and he should have got annoyed right after Dragon burst. So anyways, in the next review, I'll be going over episode 20, Rebirth, Master Devlos, where Delta evolves Devlos and has his rematch with Arthur. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this review. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, please subscribe, please follow me on social media. Links will be in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys later.